Ellen and Jim, the FBI won't confirm whether or not an investigation is underway involving Sheriff Jenkins or his department, or comment on the thousands of dollars of seized campaign cash. But sources with knowledge of the investigation tell the I-Team a number of county employees have already been subpoenaed to testify to a federal grand jury. And federal documents confirm the January seizure from that campaign account. All of this, just the latest from a sheriff who's courted controversy in the past.
I appreciate the opportunity to say a few words.
Culpeper County Sheriff Scott Jenkins once promised to appoint armies of volunteer deputies.
Thousands of auxiliary deputies.
It was his idea to help preserve gun rights in late 2019 when Virginia lawmakers were considering gun legislation. The thousands never materialized, but Jenkins does have dozens of them, more than it appears county law allows. The I-Team obtained this list of auxiliary deputies appointed by the sheriff, each sworn in by the court. 46 people, more than double what county law says they should have.
They should be only doing what they're qualified to do.
Professor Adam Dobrin is an expert on volunteer policing. He teaches it at Florida Atlantic University and is a reserve officer himself in Florida. Dobrin says even volunteers need proper training and background checks.
The public should have the certainty that this is someone who has had the training commensurate with their authority and responsibility.
A county order and the sheriff's office make it clear volunteer deputies have to pass extensive background checks, have no felony or criminal convictions that call into question their morals or ethics, and be of good character.
It's greatly concerning.
Caleb Kiefer with the Southern Poverty Law Center says he believes one name on that list, John Guandolo, isn't. Guandolo was once an FBI agent. He's now a Culpeper auxiliary deputy, and the SPLC says he's part of something else.
We view him as one of the leading anti-Muslim figures in this country.
Guandolo is a law enforcement trainer who lives in Dallas, Texas, and touts being a Culpeper auxiliary deputy on his company biography. The SPLC tracked Guandolo and his Understanding the Threat training program for years, saying it uses anti-Muslim rhetoric and conspiracy theories.
We designate his organization as a hate group.
Kiefer has concerns about Guandolo having that auxiliary badge.
It legitimizes him in some sense.
Exactly.
Neither Guandolo nor Sheriff Jenkins answered any of the I-Team's questions about his service. And neither Jenkins nor his D.C. lawyer would talk to us about this guy, Rick Rahim, also listed as an auxiliary deputy. Rahim's a frequent poster online about his financial businesses.
Slaughtered the stock market.
Most recently running a financial advice service. But in 1992, he pleaded guilty to 3 felony counts of obtaining property under false pretenses and was sentenced to serve 6 months. In 1997, the Federal Trade Commission settled with him over allegations Rahim made deceptive claims about his credit repair company. In 2009, Rahim pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of illegal assembly after Fairfax cops busted an allegedly illegal poker game at his home. Court records show Rahim agreed to forfeit more than $300,000.
The sheriff has the authority to swear in deputy sheriffs.
The sheriff promised county supervisors and his auxiliary forces would pass a background check.
Proper screening must be done.
Sheriff Jenkins hasn't explained to the I-Team how Rahim passed his. The I-Team reached out to Rahim, who referred us back to the sheriff, told us to stay off his property, and hinted, "My hands are tied. I'm very sorry, cannot talk yet."
Which means we have no explanation for this. Court documents from 2020 showing Rahim, who's long called Fairfax County home, came all the way here to the Culpeper County Courthouse to file a petition to get his right to own a gun restored. He lost it after that 1992 felony conviction for financial crime.
In this transcript, he swore under oath he lived on the very same street as the sheriff's brother, the same street where the sheriff's office holds its annual Halloween charity event. And even more curious is what we found in court documents from a pending lawsuit filed when Rahim allegedly stopped paying for 2 Lamborghinis. This U.S. Marshal Service form showing addresses where those cars might be located for seizure includes one house we found is owned by the sheriff himself.
Why isn't he calling me back?
No comment from Rahim or the sheriff about that. And calls to several county supervisors in Culpeper about all of the I-Team's questions didn't yield any answers either. Professor Dobrin said in the end, the only people the sheriff really answers to are the people of Culpeper themselves.
The sheriff is second second in command. The voting public is the top of that chart. And so in an elected official like a sheriff, the answer is that they answer to the public.
Sources in Culpeper tell the I-Team all these volunteer auxiliary deputies get uniforms, badges, and guns from the county just like full-time deputies. But there's no record at all of any gun issued by the sheriff to auxiliaries, and records of only a handful of them getting any equipment at all. Well, training? Good question. They're supposed to have it in things like general law enforcement and firearms use. It's required by policy, but Jim and Un, again, no proof it's been done for any but 3 of the 46 deputies we found.
No one has heard from Jenkins until today, when News 4 investigative reporter Ted Oberg tracked him down.
If there's a big story in Culpeper, it gets chewed over at the Frost Cafe, the heart of this small town right on Main Street. And this holiday week, that big story is Sheriff Scott Jenkins and his federal indictment. Bobby Burnham is a waitress there. It's alleged that he
it is alleged
that he sold badges for bribes.
Okay, well,
Should he remain sheriff?
in my opinion, no, he should not.
We found Ed Jones on his way out of lunch.
If this is the truth, it's a sad situation for our town.
And found Culpeper County Supervisor Tom Underwood on his way in.
It's embarrassing.
To whom?
The county.
According to the indictment, Sheriff Scott Jenkins accepted at least $72,500 in cash and campaign contribution bribes since April 2019 from at least 8 people, including 2 undercover agents, as well as Rick Rahim, Frederick Gumbener, and James Metcalf. In exchange for those campaign donations, the feds allege Jenkins appointed the men auxiliary deputies, which allowed them to carry concealed firearms in all 50 states without obtaining a permit.
I've known Scott for more than 30 years.
Former Culpeper Police Chief Chris Jenkins, no relation, is deeply disturbed by the charges.
To see a leader of an organization, the leader of this county, that he would betray that trust and basically sell out badges to the highest bidder. I mean, it's unfathomable, I think, for this community.
Should he be running the sheriff's office today?
I don't believe so.
But Sheriff Jenkins hasn't stepped down, and since the indictment became public, hasn't said a thing publicly until now. We tracked the sheriff down outside his office today, and before he could roll up the window and roll away, he told us, "I am still sheriff, I am still working, I am still running for office." To his elected colleague, that may not be enough.
You've called the indictment embarrassing.
Yes.
Is his continued service embarrassing?
I don't believe so.
To the former chief here, it's too much to take.
As far as I know today is that he is the sheriff of Culpeper and he is in charge and calling the shots.
How does that sit with you?
I don't think it sit well with anyone.
Sheriff Jenkins is set for trial in September, re-election in November. His attorney did not return multiple messages or calls today. In Culpeper, Ted Oberg for the News 4 IT. There's little reason this one-car accident on a rainy day in Dallas would ever be newsworthy on its own. Police reports say the driver was going too fast, hit the guardrail, and spun out.
Well, this is a bad wreck.
He was taken to the hospital, but before he left, he told firefighters
He has a police officer out of his vehicle, so he has a sidearm and a low one on the back.
That got the attention of the News 4 I-Team. Dallas police determined that truck with Texas tags was registered to someone we've reported on before.
It's registered to John Guandolo.
John Guandolo. He's a Culpeper County auxiliary deputy. For years, he trained law enforcement officers all over the country with the now-defunct group Understanding the Threat, a group the Southern Poverty Law Center designated a hate group offering, in their words, Islamophobic training programs. Earlier this year, the SPLC raised concerns to the I-Team about why Sheriff Scott Jenkins would give him an auxiliary deputy badge.
I really hope that these associations would be maybe thought through a little more and maybe reconsidered.
And now we have more questions about what the sheriff gave Guandolo. Remember what Dallas police found in his truck?
Does he have a rifle in here by any chance? They said that he has a long gun in the back.
In the back seat and inside a well-worn Wilson tennis bag, Dallas police found this rifle, a roughly $3,000 semi-automatic FN SCAR, and according to a police report, 13 magazines full of .556 ammo. The assault rifle is legal to drive around with in Texas, but emails obtained by the I-Team show it's actually owned by Culpeper County taxpayers who live 1,250 miles from where it was found. 5 days after the wreck, Guandolo emailed Sheriff Jenkins. At the scene, a Dallas PD officer took custody of my CSO, that's Culpeper Sheriff's Office, issued FN SCAR, which they have in their custody.
This is an egregious example of bad judgment, bad decision-making.
Will Pelfrey is a criminologist at Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond who's followed the issues at the Culpeper Sheriff's Office closely.
The assault rifles issued to public safety officials are very serious weapons. They're designed to be used in tactical situations.
When Dallas police reached out to the Culpeper County Sheriff's Office, they were told Guandolo is currently a duly sworn deputy with the Culpeper County Sheriff's Office. No mention of the fact he's a volunteer auxiliary.
Well, ask him what does he want us to do with it.
Dallas police didn't file any charges related to the gun, but they didn't give it back to Guandolo either, despite his emailed hope they may release the weapons to me. Emails show Dallas shipped it back to Culpeper. This case led us to wonder just how many other Culpeper County guns are out there in Dallas or Culpeper or who knows where. So using Virginia law, we asked him to give us the records. The I-Team previously dug up records on the dozens of people Sheriff Jenkins made auxiliary deputies in the last few years. Policy says they get full gear, but when we asked for the records of what they received, this is all we got. Records for 5 people. One guy's baseball cap, another's polo shirt, a few holsters, but no mention of any gun issued to an auxiliary in the last 3.5 years. When we asked specifically for records of that firearm found in Dallas, we got nothing. Those records could not be found or do not exist, we were told.
Any law enforcement agency should carefully record and track any equipment they issue, particularly those involved in lethal force.
We reached out to Guandolo using emails he used to contact Sheriff Jenkins, asking why he had the gun, but we never heard back. And we didn't hear back from anyone with Culpeper County or the Sheriff's Office about why that gun was in Dallas or where it is now.
Culpeper County is projected to get a new sheriff. Residents voted for change today to replace now indicted Sheriff Republican Scott Jenkins. It is a story the NEWS4 I-Team has covered for years. Our team coverage continues now with investigative reporter Ted Oberg. He was in Culpeper today as voters made their choice.
This is a resounding loss for Sheriff Scott Jenkins. It means Culpeper County is projected to have a new sheriff for the first time in 12 years, and for the first time since he left high school, Sheriff Scott Jenkins won't work for the Culpeper County Sheriff's Department. Tim Chilton is projected to be Culpeper's new sheriff. He is currently an assistant police chief with the City of Culpeper Police Department. He celebrated with supporters at the firehouse here in Culpeper. He won every part of the county and now has roughly 2 months to get ready to take over.
And will it be difficult to run this office with a possible federal trial ongoing?
It depends the depth of it. I think there's going to be layers to some of it. I don't know that for a fact, but if it is, it's a possibility.
And do you think we've learned all that there is to know about what may have gone wrong inside the sheriff's office?
I don't think so, not yet.
Chilton will take over in January, just months before Scott Jenkins faces a federal bribery and conspiracy trial in May. The indictment alleges Jenkins accepted tens of thousands of dollars in bribes from several people who then became auxiliary deputies in the sheriff's department. Jenkins has pleaded not guilty. The I-Team reached out to Jenkins and his attorney for comment on the election, but we never heard back. Projected winner Tim Chilton tells the I-Team this may not be the last we learn of what's happened inside the sheriff's office here. He plans audits of the budget, guns the office has purchased, and an overhaul of that auxiliary deputy program the I-Team's covered for months. In Culpeper County, Ted Oberg for the NEWS4 I-Team.